together, please. Hare Krishna, Hare. Very loudly from your heart together. Don't hold back. Hey, welcome back to the Forest of Bush. Neighbors, not just neighbors, family members. We're all back at the family picnic. The Forest of Vrindavan, there's so many beautiful animals. One animal is very, very sweet. Shri Radha Muralidhar ki! Right before we go back into this ecstatic kirtan, can we make a nice buzz for Radha Muralidhar? Deity Gaura Hare
together, everybody, please, with full hearts, hands in prayer, raised up into the sky, in love, appreciation, gratitude, and devotion. Jaya Radha, one more time. Radha Muralidhar ki Jai, Shri Gaura Chandra ki Jai, Shri Brahmana Shri Dev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Adipati Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Kali Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki Jai, Jai Gaura Prabhupada Prabhu ki Jai. Muralidhar has paparazzi. Thank you all so much for coming back. We continue the Radha Muralidhar journey. How many of you enjoyed yesterday? The nectar was flowing, as they say. It was so sweet. Premai, thank you for that wonderful darshan yesterday. Premai Devi ki. Hand stitch. She says, no, I did not do it. Muralidhar forced me to do it. That's what he does. He's forcing us all to come together. And today, I had to twist some arms today. Because this is what devotees do. No, Prabhu, somebody else, Prabhu, somebody else, Prabhu, somebody else, Prabhu. And in a loving way, I think Muralidhar inspired this person who's going to speak next. Because there was nothing... who said it yesterday? Was it Rasanath? Who was talking about Ganadhar Pandit? Who was it? Rasanath. He was like, when Pandit gets his mind fixed on something, you can't stand in the way of it. And when Gaurakumar Prabhu gets his mind fixed on something, you can't stand in the way of it, because he is a devotional force. Probably, besides James Hughes, the most steady member of the Bhakti Center, he's unbelievable. So Gaurakumar does many different things in this community. He mentors many different people, takes care of so many different people, runs 26 Second Avenue. He's just an amazing force here, and he is just a gentleman in all different respects. I look up to him. Many of us bow down to him because of his devotional qualities. So we're going to hear from Gaurakumar Prabhu, who's been here since his Seattle days. We'll see if he brings that into the equation, but we'll hear his stories from Gaurakumar Prabhu. Gaurakumar Prabhu ki Jai!
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Avashyakam Chitayamine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vatsani Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. With all your blessings, I would like to share some pastimes of Shri Radha Muralidhar. Unlike other speakers before me, who have dedicated their lives to Shri Radha Muralidhar, I have been a spaced out devotee. I have served here as a cook, a pujari, and also overseen finances, but I have failed multiple times in each of these roles. But even in these failures, I have felt the loving warmth and guidance of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and the divine hand of Shri Radha Muralidhar. I will now share some memories and lessons I have learned on this journey, and what a journey it has been. These almost 20 years, we have moved from mortgages to owning the building. We have transformed the temple floor from the second floor to the third floor, from bare brick walls to walls adorned with cow dung, from minimal deity standards to exemplary deity standards, from simple khichdi offerings to exquisite Rajbhog offerings, from simple festivals to festivals like this under Vamsi Vat. First pastime is called Guru Mukha Padmavatya.
He's going to time that better.
My bhakti journey began in 2001 with a college program outreach in Albany, led by His Grace Vigal Kishore Prabhu, Rasnath Prabhu, and Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu, where I was a PhD student. Every summer, I would come down to New York City and stay in the various temporary ashram apartments under Yajnapurush Prabhu. During these visits, we would regularly go to New Vrindavan and visit Maharaj in room number 7. These were days before we had this building. On one such trip to New Vrindavan, Yajnapurush Prabhu shared an experience which goes to the history of how we even got this building. He said, once he was driving Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and Maharaj suddenly looked up towards the sky, and he said, the sanctuary leaders will call us and ask us to move into this building, and we might be able to get the entire building to ourselves. This seemed completely, it came out of nowhere, and it was unrealistic at that time. However, a few years later, in 2005, the exact words of Maharaj came true. I remember how in 2005, the Brahmachari ashram moved to one apartment on the 6th floor, 6W, just to take care of Shri Radha Muralidhar. After several legal battles, the entire building came under the care of the Brahmacharis. The words of Maharaj, we will get the entire building to ourselves, struck my mind profoundly. The second pastime, seeing hope in the hopeless, attracts Krishna's mercy. This was in 2012 when my wife Nitya Kishori and I were staying at the Bhakti Center in the 6th floor. These were tough times at the Bhakti Center. We were overseeing finances. Every month was a struggle financially just to maintain the building. We had no fundraising events nor regular monthly donors at that time. We had mortgages, we had loans, and property taxes to pay. On top of that, we were receiving building code violations every month as several floors were not in compliance with the NYC building laws. One particular month, the elevator stopped working, the boiler in the basement stopped working, and I remember at that time, we took personal loans from several devotees, including Veerabhadra Prabhu and Rasnath Prabhu at that time, just for the basic monthly maintenance and repairs. We didn't even know how we would be able to repay those loans. At that time, Maharaj visited the Bhakti Center. We had a finance meeting with him. In that 30-minute meeting, Maharaj kept talking about just one thing, how Shri Radha Muralidhar are the center and how we should take care of them lovingly and nicely. We were left confused after that meeting. We were hoping that Maharaj would connect us with a donor or suggest some way to alleviate the financial burden. On some contemplation, it struck us. As Vasudev Prabhu mentioned yesterday, we had been giving the DT department finances the lowest priority. We would first allocate whatever funds we would get to other areas of the building maintenance and give whatever was remaining to the DT account last. We decided after that meeting with Maharaj to reverse it and start giving topmost priority to the DTs. We also started increasing our monthly allocation to the DT department by 3 times. And miraculously, everything started falling into place, just as Maharaj had said. In just a few days, Yugal Kishore Prabhu mentioned that he would start giving a huge donation on a yearly basis. In just a few weeks, a rich diamond merchant made a big donation to the Bhakti Center. The lesson I learned was to keep Krishna Bhakti in the center and water the root. If we lose focus on that, we lose everything. A few years later, when I brought up this incident with Maharaj and how he had helped us, he told one sentence which I've always kept close to my heart. Seeing hope in the hopeless attracts Krishna's mercy, he said. Seeing hope in the hopeless attracts Krishna's mercy. I'm happy to report that we are now no longer paying mortgage and the building is ours due to the tireless efforts which started with Sukhav Mataji and now under the care of Sundarnath Prabhu. My next pastime is called either be grateful or be a great fool. I would like to remember the services and sacrifices of several devotees, 4 in particular who are not here. First and foremost, Her Grace Sukhav Mataji, Yugal Kishore Prabhu, Yagya Purush Prabhu, Radha Vallabh Prabhu, and Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu. Once we were all sitting around Maharaj discussing what should be our core mission at the building. This meeting started at 10 p.m. and went on till 3:30 a.m. At one point, I distinctly remember Maharaj lovingly looking at Murli Gopal and me saying, "You have such big degrees, you're all intellectuals, and I'm a college dropout. But Krishna has given me a gift." We were all eager to know and see Maharaj's heart and hear about the gift. He said, "Krishna has gifted me with a deep concern for others, and out of that concern, when I talk to people, they get connected to Krishna." What touched me was, Maharaj didn't say, "I have deep concern for others." He said, "Krishna has given me deep concern for others." Even in that statement, he was being grateful to Krishna and how Krishna was using him as an instrument while taking no personal credit. We understood, and to this day, I have seen that it has become such a core feature of the Bhakti Center. After every successful program like this one at the Bhakti Center, I clearly remember Maharaj saying, "By the mercy of Acharyas, they have allowed us to receive the grace of Lord Chaitanya." Maharaj always mentions that we have 2 options, either be grateful or be a great fool. Let's all be grateful to be part of this journey of Shri Radha Muralidhar Vijay. The final lesson, I want to reflect on a profound lesson that has shaped our community at the Bhakti Center. Throughout our path, we have encountered many challenges, none more prevalent than conflicts amongst devotees. Yet, amidst these challenges, we have continued to thrive with Shri Radha Muralidhar and Gaura Chandra firmly at our center. Once, during a drive to the airport, Kanisham was driving Maharaj, and the discussion that we were having was about devotee conflicts. And we were following a trash truck, and Maharaj immediately remarked, "This is me. People dump all these conflicts and worries on me." In that candid exchange, he imparted a very deep principle. He said, "Yes, Bhakti Center is intense. New York is intense. But we must learn to balance intensity with sensitivity. Bhakti isn't just about fervent service to Krishna, it's equally about how sensitively we serve alongside others." In discussions, many devotees have expressed that their greatest hurdle at Bhakti Center is learning to tolerate devotees. Maharaj's response was illuminating. As we progress, we realize that devotees are tolerating us. It's about adjusting our wavelength, cultivating humility to harmonize with others. Over the years, amidst leadership changes, this principle of sensitivity has anchored our community. Today, I honor our leaders, Yagya Purush Prabhu, Lakshmi Narasimha Prabhu, Rasnath Prabhu, Anantadev Prabhu, Veerabhadra Prabhu and Jaikri Dali Prabhu, and Daya Gauranga Prabhu, who have exemplified servant leadership. Once we had asked Maharaj, what is the greatest gift that one can receive from Muralidhar and our spiritual master? Maharaj said, and I will end with this, it is not personal association. It is not even personal instruction. It is by Guru and Krishna's mercy that we enter into the Sampradaya, and an even better and best gift is that they allowed entrance into a spiritual community where Bhakti is the center and Bhakti is the goal. Thank you, Shri Radha Muralidhar and Maharaj, for this Bhakti Center, these wonderful devotees that you have given us, and thank you for opening our hearts and doors of Radha Muralidhar for all of us. Shri Radha Muralidhar ki Jai! Shri Prabhupada ki Jai! His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj ki Jai! Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Kumar Prabhu ki
Jai!
Wow, beautiful Kumar. Really couldn't have been timed any more perfect. Everything he was saying, so heartfelt, Kumar. Thank you. Well, he mentioned one name in there, somebody that had a big degree, and so I'm going to ask that guy with the big degree to come up here and share some of his realizations. Murali Gopal Prabhu. All over the world, Murali Gopal Prabhu makes friends and enlightens all the devotees, especially through one specific dancing pastime. Murali Gopal Prabhu, yay!
Radha Muralidhar ki Jai, Gaura Chandra ki Jai. I wanted to give you a little bit of a picture of what it was, the Bhakti Center, when I just came in back in 2010. It was not called the Bhakti Center at that time. It was just the Bhaktivedanta Ashram. We had an incredible morning program. It was fire. Every single day was fire. And we were dancing and yes. To the point where we knew each other's steps, and we would go like, sometimes somebody would start imitating somebody else, and everybody would know, oh, he's imitating that person. It was really nice, and when we came up to the third floor, I remember that morning, the downstairs it was kind of small. Here now there was like all of this thing, so we started going back and forth. Like when we started going back, it was like, okay, wait, how far should we go? Okay, let's just stop here and let's keep going. So just figuring out what the dynamics was going to be here, and then the third floor was a whole ordeal. Breakfast and lunch was incredible. We would sit down in a semicircle, and somebody would come in and get the breakfast or lunch, and we would stay there for hours, just like talking to each other. And this is how a lot of people would start becoming brahmacharis, just from that personal association of just staying here and how are you, what's going on, and everything. during the morning program, we would be cutting up vegetables while we were listening to the class. Because we were doing preaching at both NYU and at Columbia University, and it was a lot of prasad, you know, to be made for that. So I remember that in Columbia University, Radha and the Alvarado group, they were heading that up, and they were saying we had programs 5 days a week. Everyone was different. Something was different every single day. It wasn't that we had just you know prasad this day. No, it was something different every day. And in NYU, it was Ganesham Prabhu with Radha Prabhu, and they were heading that up. So it was incredible. And as you can imagine, there were 21 brahmacharis from all over the world. It was amazing being here. And also, it was kind of tight. So the rush in the morning to get to the morning program with only 2 bathrooms. It was a thing. So some of them we would have to go down to the basement where there were extra showers. But it was like the whole thing of getting into the elevator to go downstairs, take a shower and go back, and whole thing. And also finding time for just being by yourself. Daoji, he had to go into the pujari room, like when it was in the 2nd floor, and hide himself among inside where among the dresses of Radha Muralidhar to be able to study, just to have time to study, because he was just like this big brain, and just like he loves to study, but he wanted to be alone for that. So that was where he found his refuge. What's that?
Use the ironing board as a desk.
Oh yes, the ironing board is desk. And every now and then we would have catch-up dates with each other. So let's just okay. Let's go in and walk together, alongside the park, just to catch up and see what's going on, and that was amazing. And Harinams in Little Italy. The Alvarado Prabhu or Jayavarado Prabhu would be leading, and it was incredible. All the shop owners, because they're Italians, they're pious like that. They would come out and start dancing and invite the devotees into the restaurant also, to come and just chant and dance. It was amazing. Or Adi Purush Prabhu and Evangel giving socks to everyone every single Christmas. They still do. To this day, everyone would get a pair, and it was good socks, not cheap socks, good socks, and that's what every brahmachari would have for the rest of the year. Those socks. Then there was there was a change in management. Things crumbled down, and we had to go into the jump mode. Jump into services, because things were just like, oh, what happened to this? So it was a struggle at that point. So that was like the dark period of the 20th century. It was difficult, but throughout it all, there was so much mercy from Radha Muralidhar. Like we felt it, so much mercy coming from them constantly. We had Lakshmi Singh Prabhu and Anantadev Prabhu try to step up and try to do something, but it was difficult because they were in a position of responsibility, but without much resources. But they did an amazing job just trying to bring it together. Radha Muralidhar, it's incredible how much they will encourage us in little things. I remember this one pani pati that we had, and Remember that? We just decided, like, you know, we want the mercy that Raghunath Das Goswami had. We want that mercy. So we started saying, okay, can we have a Parihati festival like that? And so Vasudev Prabhu said, okay, yes, let's have it. So we started making the two types of chipped rice according to the instructions of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it was like two big pots, you know, one with sweet rice and the other one with yogurt and, you know, with all the fruits and like that and cardamom, and it was incredible. And then we had a feast in here, just among the few that were there. And we were laughing so much that day. It was incredible. You know, we were just like so happy, just so happy, and I think it was really just like Radha Muralidhar showing their appreciation, you know, for us, you know, putting that effort there. Also, at some point, the Bhakti Center not only had yoga studio here, but also a karate academy. And again, it was all, you know, encouragement from the devotees here. As time progressed, things started picking up. Radha Maharaj was telling us, you know, like, that there's so much potential in this place. And we started seeing that potential coming together from all the different devotees that were here. For example, Vasudev Prabhu, he started just like raising the standards of the deity worship, just making it, okay, now we're going to have night dressing again. It was like, oh, there's a day dressing and a night dressing, okay, try. We're going to have like so many different offerings, and like Kalika was my favorite. Because that's when you get all the fruits and the juices. So that was my favorite. You know who was out there at 4 o'clock waiting for the offering to come out. When we were here, we heard about that Rangroy Prabhu was coming to New York. You know, because he had been in Vrindavan at the time, and he came here to the Bhakti Center. He came here just like with a broken heart, because Andhra Prabhu had left this world. And he was just in a state which is, you know, just very depressed, and like what's going to happen and things like that. And with a motley crew, he started going out into Tompkins Square Park first, and then to Washington Square Park, and eventually to Union Square. And it was, yeah, like the motley crew was really like wild. But he kept going. Him and Shri Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj, they were both going out there and just putting out, and eventually like they started attracting all these amazing people to create the Harinam that is now in, you know, the New York City Harinam. Devi Kumari, she upgraded the operations of this building. And Sundaram Prabhu and Gaur Kumar Prabhu, you just heard from them, you know, just like how they had to reorganize everything because it was such a mess, and make it so that it was so beautiful the day that we came here to and offered to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Radha Muralidhar the mortgage back, saying that here the building is yours. Here it is. That it was very simple, but it was so beautiful because now they're here. Now this is their place. They've established themselves in New York City. Virabhadra Prabhu, Jagidhar Prabhu, Shama, and Dhyana, the way that they revolutionized the yoga. We were going like, where's the how are we going to maintain the whole thing? And said, okay, we're going to take up the yoga studio, and they created it. They made a space that now yoga in New York City, everybody knows the Bhakti Center. It is a place where people know where that there's yoga. And Thursday night kirtans. That became a thing. There was Jagidar Prabhu just coming here and playing for the deities and that. But his personality, and then with Radha Prabhu, hosting that, it became a thing that now, it's an outreach program that even there's a name Willow Smith is coming here regularly. She's like, hey, I want to be part of this. Radha Kumari, when she took up deity dressing, new level. Nikunja Lila. You see the garments right now? Previously, when I was in charge of them, it was just like flower, 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 flower. Maybe something in here. She started doing the petals, making them this, different designs, different things. It's like, wow, it's amazing. Which reminds me of incredible. Again, this is Radha Muralidhar giving their special mercy in breaking laws, just to give that special mercy. There was a pujari here named Om Rishikesh, and he was a born pujari. He had Radha Muralidhar in his heart 100% of the time. He would be going down the street and he'd be seeing like some fruit, like, oh, that would be nice for them. Some flowers, oh, those would look so nice in a garden for them. Constantly in deity worship mode. And the first time that he was allowed to go into the altar, very first time, started going around the gap, open darshan, everybody was like, oh my God, Radha Muralidhar can look like that. It was like that. But at some point, he left the ashram, and it was sad seeing him leave. But at some point, we were there starting to take up the deity worship, and like one of those mornings when nothing's happening, and so like, hey, who's supposed to be dressing the deities today? Because it's kind of late, and nobody picked up the phone, and it's getting kind of late, and what was going to happen? And so, Om Rishikesh Prabhu was there making garments, and it's like, well, I can help. Okay, but do you have a devotee like that? Maybe I can give you one, and you can. Okay, because I can't do it by myself. Everybody knows how slow. I said, I need help. I can't do this by myself. I'm going to go jump in. I need you with me. And so we went in there, and he got the chance again to dress Radha Muralidhar. It was an incredible dressing. And again, like we stepped back, and it was like, wow, how do you do this, Prabhu? And it was his birthday. It happened to be his birthday. This is Radha Muralidhar's gift to Om Rishikesh on his birthday. Then Gosharam Prabhu came in, and you've seen the prasadam out of the programs right now. He upped that. He was the one who made it, that incredible. Because Shishra Prabhu and Kishore Kumari, they said, we need to start preaching here in New York City. So they started with second, what are we going to do with this space? Well, let's use it, to attract all the Russians. And the Russians then, were hit by Thakurani, Radha Kumari, and Shimai Radha. All these decorations that you see now, the way that every festival, it was next level, next level, next level. Every time you said, well, how do you do this? And every single time it was more incredible that they decorated. Karuna Varanga Prabhu came with Karuna Nimai, and they revolutionized the outreach to the point where they started doing this Diwali, and now what is it? I think it's the consul, for India. He regularly comes here for Diwali, and it's televised, and it's like, wow, look at this. Ali Cruz Peru and Banjo, at some point they were given the task of, okay, there's this basement, and it's terrible like that. They made it so clean, so bright, so nice. Then we said like, wow, you could possibly even have artists in here, in the trash area. They made it so incredible. Then Genevieve Jivana, she came here, and the fundraisers were next level. Now she was bringing stardom to our fundraisers. Divya and Purushasutta downstairs, they took up the restaurant, and now they're winning so many awards every single month. Diners has made it one of the top restaurants in New York City, not vegetarian restaurants in New York City. It's that level. We also had Chocolata. She took up the reception, and now it's a thing. We have reception. We have somebody greeting, welcoming people into the Bhakti Center. And then COVID hit. Everything shut down. Everything was like, oh my God, like, how are we going to, I remember it was, what was it like for a whole month, nobody could go in, nobody could go out. That was it. But even during that time, 2 people had come. Damodar and Tulsi Vilas Guru. Westerners, here that it was just like, and they started taking up the most simple jobs like cleanliness of the building, taking care of Tulsi, and cleaning after the programs. They were so steady, they were so sincere, and you can see, like you just came from outside, and you have nothing. Like it's during COVID, like there's nothing to give you, but they were giving so much of themselves. Arjuna Prabhu also came, and he started giving that steadiness in the morning program and mentorship. Now we have a whole mentorship program, and it just started with him, just mentoring devotees here. And finally, Dayal Ranga Prabhu, he gave me that online presence. We never had it. He made it. Now it's a thing. Now Bhakti Center is being broadcast all over the world because of so what Radha Maharaj said, that there was so much potential in this, yes, and it has taken so many devotees to bring it to this place where we are right now, and we're so grateful to each and every one of them.
There we go, Prabhu Ki Jai. Oh, Vaishnav, thank you. Bringing everybody along, and so many more that aren't being, in one sense, named, but really are reciprocating in your heart. We're going to have one more. This is a fountain. This may happen in her eyes. She's known that the tears may be flowing. I can already see them welling up. She hasn't even said anything, but we're going to ask Sundari Gopi to clear the just a complete heart filled with gratitude here. Sundari Gopi leading the way for His Holiness Radha Maharaj to speak. Sundari Gopi Devi Ki! You got 10 minutes, Gopi. Let's see if you can make it through.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, Jai wasn't exaggerating when he said that might happen. Ever since Mother Kamagiri gave me a hug yesterday morning, I haven't been able to stop crying. It's been non-stop since yesterday. I'll start. I was loving hearing like what Muralidhar was saying, what Vasudev was saying yesterday. The experience that they all had here in the ashram. I actually got a glimpse of that back in 2011. I came to visit for a month. Not for a month, sorry, for a week. I was staying upstairs with Radha and my sister. And anyway, we got to see a glimpse of what it was like here at the Bhakti Center back then. You know, the temple was still downstairs. Like everybody who later became my friends, they're all brahmacharis, like running up and down the temple room. It was so sweet. Rasanath giving Bhagavatam classes leading up to Janmashtami. It was like the sweetest thing I've ever experienced. And I was like, I somehow want to be a part of this. But no, I wasn't a brahmachari. So I was like, I can't come here. And then by some crazy arrangement, I ended up here anyway. I got the opportunity to come in 2015 to serve as I did a lot of stuff, but the program, I got pulled into the programs, like arrange programs and that kind of stuff. And I came here to do that, and then literally like not even a month after arriving, Vasudev pulls a few of us over to the side and he goes, "You're getting second initiated." I'm like, what? Like, I didn't agree to this. I just wanted to tell your story yesterday. I was resonating with it. I was like, yeah. I was like, why me? And there was 9 of us who received second initiation together. Shami, I just saw Sham walk in. Sham, Diana, Vera, who else? Rasika Gopi, Radha Kumari, Rajaraj, myself, missing one person. There's 9 of us. Sorry. And it was the sweetest thing. And we received our guard. It was like early in the morning. Guru Maharaj had to leave, so we received our guard trees, and then it was like at 7 in the morning. We did our yagya, and literally as soon as the yagya was over, like without skipping a heartbeat, Vasudev took us all into the Pujari room and just started telling us what to do. He immediately started training us. If you were here yesterday and you heard Vasudev's stories, that people were like coming and going, we were the new batch of people who had just arrived, and he was like, I'm not letting them loose, and just, immediately. And I didn't realize that was going to be something that I was going to be able to do while I was here, but basically since I got here, I've been able to serve at Muralidhar. Well, I lived in the ashram for 3 years, and oh my gosh, okay, this is going to start crying. Okay, it's been the greatest gift. Being able to serve Radha Muralidhar has been the greatest gift. It's given so many things, like I've been crying non-stop because every time I think about what was I going to say today, all these different memories started coming up, and all the different memories, I was thinking like, wow, like I've been really blessed, and I mean, so all of us, one of the gifts is this community, we have each other, and like, we're like going to buy flowers at 5 in the morning to decorating the altar for festivals, staying up until ungodly hours, like decorating, and then waking up super early to dress the deities for festivals. I used to do that service in a while. I did last night though, that was really sweet. Also pulled me in, and the friendships, that we've developed over the years, the association of really beautiful senior devotees that somehow get the rest of it. I wish they were here, but I was thinking of Malati Prabhu, Nijudita Prabhu, Mahajashri, Harinam, Mother Kamagiri. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And I feel like it's very fitting that somehow, because I used to spend a lot of time in Vrindavan, and all these devotees, I guess, that's where I'm like, oh, okay, Hari Bodhi, you are here. I met Ranaswamy in Vrindavan, and I spent a lot of time there, and got a lot of shelter from the devotees there, and I always wanted to serve Shri Radha and Chandra. And I haven't had a chance to personally serve them. But I got the opportunity to do my first deity seva in Vrindavan, actually, for Rashana Maharaj's deities. And just all the blessings that came from that community feel like kind of like translated to being able to serve Radha Muralidhar, and I just feel really happy to be and really blessed to be part of that crew that's serving Vasudev in his service for Radha Muralidhar. A few of us were in the Pujari room yesterday while he was speaking, and like we couldn't hold our tears because it's just very sweet. He's here. It was so sweet hearing his realizations, and the thing that struck me the most was, you know, like I don't know, like I felt like I get to be part of Vasudev offering, you know, and he does things so nicely. And despite my limitations and all my things, he still engages me in service. They accept me. The community, you know, like we're gets to serve together, and it's a really beautiful thing. So I'm really grateful for that. Okay. So yeah, this is like really, I feel out of, Jai keeps saying, you know, like this is like it's like a family reunion, and it very much feels that way. And all of us, even though we might not all know each other, and there's been so many different layers of devotees who have served over the years and so many different generations, I feel really, really happy that I've been able to get glimpses of association with some of the devotees who've been serving for over five decades, and then those who are serving for the last 2 decades, and then all of us who are here present now and get to continue doing their service.
Thank you, Sundari Gopi. Sundari Gopi Devi Ki? And in our lead up, His Holiness Radha Parad, we're going to have Dograga Prabhu read something very sweet.
Just wanted to read a quick poem as Gaurakumar and Moni Gopal and also Sundari were speaking. They were mentioning so many devotees that aren't able to be here today or don't live in New York City that have contributed to this temple being here and serving Radha Muralidhar over the years. And there's so many devotees that the majority of people in this room don't even know who they are, and have given so much tremendous sacrifice and service. So many different leaders, pujaris, ashram members, community members, and their service never is forgotten. And it's amazing to see how much Muralidhar accepts all of their service. And there's a poem that Mother Sukhabaha used to reference often. She actually wanted to have it printed in large print in the building somewhere on the first floor. We were never able to. It's a very short poem, but I think of it often. And I just wanted to read it here as a lead up for Maharaj to come and speak, and for all of us to keep in our hearts. And then many of you may have heard this before. It says, "We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community." So I think that is the anthem of the Bhakti Center and this community that is here. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to benefit from all the service that has come before. And I'm grateful to the devotees that are here now that have the opportunity to serve for the generations to come. And one day, all of us won't be here, but Radha Muralidhar will be. And Nitya Ditapu said so beautifully, after all of their travels across different communities, he said it finally feels like they are home. And there were times over the years where it almost felt like we weren't going to be able to serve them anymore. We were wondering, we actually had a plan that we wanted to somehow sponsor and invite Mother Kamagiri and her whole family to come and be here just to take care of them, because we didn't feel we could do it anymore. Or maybe they shouldn't even be in New York, because they should we're just a preaching center, and maybe they need to go to a farm somewhere. We just didn't know at times. It was so difficult, but we realized that we're not here for them, but they're here for us, and they're really not going anywhere. So all of your service today contributes to the next generation. Even if nobody notices your service, it's making an imprint. So thank you so much. And with that, we'd like to, with warm hearts and great enthusiasm, the person who's inspired all of us throughout it. So many people wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the grace, the mercy, the encouragement, the love of His Holiness Radha Swami, and he's here to speak with us. I'm getting some signals. If everybody can just, as much as possible, scoot forward. We have a lot of people that are here trying to get in. We do have an overflow space in the second floor that has AC and an audiovisual live stream, and a family room downstairs for children and families, so that's available. But everybody, if you could, as much as possible, make as much space and welcome your neighbors next to you so they can be here. And please, again, let's give a warm, loud, 3 times, Haribol, so please welcome His Holiness Radha Swami to the microphone. Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj ki Jai.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna
far as my awareness, this whole gathering and festival is a manifestation from the heart of Kamagiri Devi. At least that's what I heard about it. Called me and was so inspired to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the coming of Shri Radha Muralidhar into this world.
To want to glorify Sri Radha Muralidhar in service of Sri Prabhupada. It's all because it's
And as Radha Vitari Devi was reminding us yesterday with so much sisterly love about the life of Krishan Saki Devi, Kamadini Devi's daughter. She was born at the lotus feet of Shri Radha Muralidhar. Sannyasis aren't so expert on certain subject matters. And she was conceived at the lotus feet. At least with that prayer in mind. And she has herself told so many beautiful stories about her tiny little childhood in East Cleveland, growing up with really nothing as a goal of life except pleasing Sri Radha Muralidhar. And as the years went by, Krishan Saki became a mother, and such a wonderful devotee. Just last year, Krishna took her from us. But how through the struggles of cancer treatments and all the physical hardships of that, more and more, I never heard her complain. We would speak often on the telephone. Sometimes I would meet. She would come to be with Ananta Govinda and Chitta Gopis and Janaki Priya's family sometimes here in New York just to have kirtan. With her heart and soul, she was taking shelter. Through so many hardships, to be so grateful. In her last couple of years, she became the guru, a guru for all of us. What Krishna consciousness really means. Just a few days ago, I was listening to a recording. Srila Prabhupada gave lecture on this block. It was at 26 Second Avenue in 1966. And Srila Prabhupada explained a spiritual master is one who sees every student as his spiritual master. And then he quoted Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. That every time the disciple would bow down to him, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada would lower his head and say, Dasosmi, I am your servant. And Srila Prabhupada repeated, this is the quality of the Guru, to see each disciple as his own spiritual master. And Sri Shangisaki is in many ways a spiritual master of the world Bhakti Center, because she showed us how not only in good times but even in the hardest and apparently hopeless times, how to give joy of Krishna consciousness to others. Years ago, with Srila Prabhupada's blessings, with his divine grace, and as far as I know, with very sincere concern, Sri Radha Muralidhar was born in the very same place as Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. In Cleveland, Ohio. How many of you have gone on vacation to Cleveland, Srila Prabhupada is starting centers in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, London, Paris, Bombay. Cleveland was, I don't know what it's so much current events, but it was a very downtrodden, forgotten city in those days. And the neighborhood that Radha Muralidhar was given residence was, can you tell us something about it, Kundi?
It was a beautiful place. Sri Radha Muralidhar resided there, so everything else that happened around, I don't.
Okay, well, before they came.
Well, I didn't really live in East Cleveland at the time. I kind of lived further down on the Cleveland side. And, as I shared yesterday, I grew up in the darkness of ignorance, so I didn't really pay so much attention to all the outside stuff that was going on. And I kind of kept to myself a lot, so I didn't really get involved in all the happenings of the neighborhoods, so I just know when they allowed me to come there, it was the most beautiful place.
I just remember when I was traveling and preaching, I would come to Cleveland once a week just to give a class, to dance with the devotees. Actually, on a regular basis, as far as I could see, Mangal Arati would go from 4:30 in the morning till breakfast prasad at 9 in the morning. Remember that?
Yes, it was beautiful.
And it was not scheduled or planned.
No.
It's just like, the kirtan would begin, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would so often be there dancing, and chanting and singing. And some of the greatest kirtan singers in the world would come to Cleveland. And it was just such an incredible spiritual world of chanting, dancing, and feasting. But yet, it was a very remote, difficult area from every other perspective. We have heard over the days the various inconceivable journeys of Sri Radha Muralidhar. And eventually, they came to New York City. And eventually in New York City, they came to live on the same block as 2611. And even today, they're looking at 2611. And they happen, as far as I know, the only Radha and Krishna temple in all of Manhattan Island for so many years. We've heard yesterday, today, from the memories of devotees. Sometimes things are flourishing and sometimes there's very, very deep struggle and almost a hopelessness. Sometimes favorable, sometimes unfavorable. Sometimes utterly jubilant and other times heartbreaking. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is not actually in any way meant to be determined by these ever-changing experiences of this world. Bhakti is whatever it is, whatever the situation, whoever I'm with. Krishna, how can I serve you? It's a very profound subject that Krishna incarnates in this world to give shelter. And yet, in the form of the deity, Krishna is giving the supreme shelter of the Lord. But how? By receiving shelter from the devotee. In deity worship, we take shelter by giving shelter. Does that make sense? Krishna's giving us shelter by, and Srimati Radharani, by personally putting themselves in our care. Srila Prabhupada explained, if you don't feed Krishna, you should know, not theoretically or hypothetically or symbolically or poetically, but in truth, if you don't feed the deity, Radharani and Krishna are hungry. Not just hungry for food, but hungry for our devotion. Historically, so many of the famous deities in the world and in our sampradaya have moved around in times of almost hopeless crisis. The original deities of Radha, Madan Mohan, Govindaji, Radha Gopinathji, they were installed just after Krishna, by the great-grandson of Krishna Vajranava. And as generations passed, they were forgotten. They were lost. Rupa Goswami found Govindaji underground. Advaitacharya found Madan Mohan under a tree. Gopinath was under the Bamsiva tree. The deities were actually living underground for generations. in the Pushti Marg, such an important meditation is Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. That Krishna is my only shelter. And yet from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita we read the predominating deity, Srinathji or Gopal, was totally forgotten and abandoned in some bushes. Some say underground. And he appeared to Madhavendra Puri to say, I'm hungry. Please come and feed me. And yet, he's our only shelter. And when Rupa Goswami built Madan Mohan Govindaji Temple, and Sanatana Goswami had built the symbol of Vrindavan, Shri Radha Madan Mohan Temple. How Vrindavan was flourishing at that time. But just after a couple generations, all the deities had to leave their temples. The devotees were being persecuted. The deities all traveled from one place to another, hiding. And they were Radha for some time, they were Kamyavan for some time. Eventually they had to leave Brajbhumi and go to Rajasthan. Where they still live today. And how all these devotees, generations of devotees, according to the times and the circumstances, while knowing Krishna's our only shelter, we're completely dependent on Him. Still, all these devotees were feeling that Krishna's depending on us. Otherwise, why hide Him? Why risk your life to protect Him? And why Krishna, in the form of a deity, makes Himself so apparently vulnerable? Krishna's our only shelter. The partial expansion of an expansion of Muralidhar is the original Lord Narasimha. Now, do you ever meditate on giving shelter to Lord Narasimha? Mahavishnu is an expansion of Muralidhar. He exhales and creates the entire cosmic manifestation of all of his universes. He inhales and everything becomes manifest within him. We read about the various avatars of Varaha Dev, Narasimha Dev, Kurma, Matsya, Lord Ramchandra. Krishna's Virat Rupa in Kurukshetra. But in fact, they are all partial manifestations of Muralidhar, the original Krishna of Vrindavan. He's simply playing his flute. And in the spiritual world of Goloka, the Sarva Karana, Karanam, the cause of all causes. not seen as God. It's seen as a child in our protection. When Yashoda looked into Krishna's mouth to see if he actually ate dirt, she was so worried about Krishna. The whole earth, he held up this prerogative. Why would anybody be afraid that there's dirt in God's mouth? That was her love. And it wasn't a ritual. If Krishna may get sick, Krishna may die, she's thinking like that. And Muralidhar is giving her that opportunity of intimate Vatsalayasana love. She ordered him, open your mouth. She opened his mouth. His mouth is only this big. He's still living in Gokul. He was only a couple years old. And inside she saw the universe. She saw demigods and planets and mountains and oceans. She looked closer and she saw Vrindavan. She looked closer and she saw herself looking in Krishna's mouth. Krishna's mouth didn't grow. And the universe didn't shrink. Now sometimes we try to concentrate things, especially technology. The whole idea of making a lot of things in one chip. Science. But Krishna did not reduce the universe. The entire universe with its full glory was in Krishna's bosom. And she's witnessing this. And there's so many beautiful commentaries of the Acharyas. She wasn't thinking, God is my son. She was thinking, how is Krishna going to be happy and healthy with all this in his mouth? She was bewildered, but no matter how much she became bewildered, it couldn't divert her motherly affection from worrying about Krishna's well-being. Krishna protected that motherly love even in such a situation. And when he closed his mouth, she completely forgot what she saw. Krishna's just my child. So this is Goloka. This is Gokula. Srila Prabhupada explains that the deity of the Lord appears to be marble. And some people think that God is within the deity, which is true. But he also is the deity. Marble and all the 5 gross and subtle elements of material existence are Krishna's energy. Krishna's energy is not different than Krishna. So in reality, the marble form, that marble, when by Krishna's will, that marble becomes full-fledged, complete, absolute truth of God. And when we touch the deity, When we see the deity according to the nature of our affection, Krishna is experiencing through us. Our great acharyas and all of their descendants and all of their followers, why so much effort to protect the deity, to make offerings to the deities? Why, when things got difficult, did they just, well, Krishna's in the marble, but he could leave the marble anytime he likes? Why they're willing to lay down their lives to protect the marble form of Krishna? Because bhakti is you're not seeing a marble form of Krishna, you're seeing Krishna. The full consciousness of the absolute truth is receiving our love in the form of the Lord. Not just at our convenience, but giving us responsibility. I remember one time Srila Prabhupada was at New Vrindavan, and he was gazing upon the beautiful form of Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. It seemed like a long time. He was sitting on his Vyasasana giving a lecture, and he stopped and was just gazing at Radharani and Sri Krishna. And he said, Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra have appeared to you just like a most beautiful American boy and girl. I never thought of them that way. And he was so happy with the worship. And he explained on the path of bhakti, it's like a railway track. There's two rails. There's Pancharatmika Vidhi, which is deity worship. One of the 5 primary, most prominent forms of bhakti is deity worship. And there's Bhagavad Dharma. Hearing the glories of the Lord and chanting the holy names of the Lord. Saravanam Kirtan. He said, unless you're deeply dedicated to hearing Krishna's teachings and pastimes, taking shelter of his holy names, then the day will come when you will think, why has my Guru left me the burden of these deities? Community association is to maintain that awareness and that faith. Shri Radha Muralidhar. They love every devotee infinitely more than we can understand. When devotees are hurt, when devotees are injured, when devotees are dying, when devotees are fighting, actual deity worship, actual bhakti, is we're not just thinking, how is this affecting me? How is this affecting Srimati Radharani and Muralidhar? And that's why the great acharyas have given us this form of deity worship. Putting Krishna in the center means, how is this affecting Krishna? And in bhakti, we're praying to Krishna for shelter to empower us, but we're praying for Krishna to empower us to do something for them. So yes, the nature of this world. Radha Govinda worshipped at the Yoga Pita in Vrindavan by Krishna's great-grandson. And underground, plunderers terrorizing the area, and they're hidden. And then a magnificent temple. And then they're on the run with their devotees, hiding in one place to another, hundreds and hundreds of miles. And in those days, they didn't have vans or cars. They were given large deities, how to hide them and how to travel with them. And eventually living in the king's palace in Rajasthan. But through all this beautiful history, there's always those devotees who are seeing the opportunity. We seek shelter of Krishna so that we can give shelter to Krishna. It's not a ritual. It's a responsibility. Srila Prabhupada was very conservative about Radha Krishna deities because it was such an enormous responsibility. And our Grace Malati Devi Prabhu, she can tell us so many stories in this regard. It is an enormous responsibility. But it's in that responsibility that we have the opportunity to make spiritual progress. Over the years, over the decades, who would have ever known these beautiful deities of Shri Radha Muralidhar, from living in the very remote and in many eras, very dangerous place of East Cleveland. To living in Manhattan Island, New York City. Tita told me, this is, I never heard this before today. Would you like to repeat from you told me to? Can we give a microphone?
When Sri Radha Muralidhar who moved from Greenpoint, Brooklyn, to this building. This building, as we were hearing yesterday, it had been purchased by the incredible austerities of the New Vrindavan devotees. But it was a shell. It was a plumber's warehouse. It had to be completely gutted out. So just to make it into a usable building, tremendous amounts of austerities were performed by the devotees, and it was not a suitable place for Radha Muralidhar at all. But it was a necessary move in their development of the preaching in New York, according to the vision of the devotees at that time. But because the construction was causing such incredible austere conditions of dust, and they had to tear out the old elevator, which was in the front of the building. They had to cut through the floors to put stairs. And it was, as we explained yesterday, it was so austere. There was no place for Radha, Muralidhar, Radha and Krishna to enjoy their pastimes. So the devotees at the time felt that they could not perform proper worship. So temporarily they decided, we'll put the deities to rest for a little while we renovate this building to make it suitable for them. And they thought it would just be a short time while the construction was going on. So the deities were put to rest, technically, whatever that means exactly. And the construction took 6 years. Hare Krishna. So I appreciate how you're bringing up the stories of deities that were not put to rest, but they must have not received worship for years in Vrindavan, buried, moved to different places. So must be some kind of pastime. I don't know, but Hare Krishna.
So we have the responsibility to make it up for them. By giving them a beautiful community of wonderful devotees who are willing to, how we treat each other should be based on how the deities will perceive us. We're feeling, or how they're feeling, but how Krishna is feeling. And that's what it really means to put Krishna in the center. Years is significantly longer than most people in this assembly have been living in their present bodies. So it seems like a long time. And I was just discussing with somebody yesterday. It was kirtan in Times Square. You've heard of Times Square? In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Time I am." So Times Square is actually named after Krishna. But the relevance of time in our lives is so, in one sense, 50 years for insignificant. But yet, in the spirit of devotion, every moment is like an eternity where we have the opportunity to make Krishna happy. Things were established here at the Bhakti Center in this temple room. Was offered to the Lord. And after many years of struggle, as has been explained by Gorkumar Prabhu and others, the entire building was actually offered to Radha Muralidhar. And that was a special ceremony, offering the deed of the property after so many years belongs to Lord Krishna. Such a responsibility that because Lord Krishna's depending on us. And we're totally 100% dependent on Krishna. And that reciprocal spirit of taking that water from Mother Ganga and offering it back to Ganga in our little hand. But yet, from Mother Ganga, that little pound full of water is as much water as she's providing for the whole river. In fact, it's even more precious. That's the nature of love. And this special place, a couple of years ago, the original building of where Srila Prabhupada first met his guru and was given a message in Calcutta, was acquired and renovated, and now there's a temple in it and everything. Built at Bombi Junction Road. Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur entrusted him with that instruction. Take the message of Lord Chaitanya to the Western world in the English language. That was his first instruction. And it was also the last instruction. Just 2 weeks before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada departed from his school, he gave Srila Prabhupada the same instruction. Take the message of Lord Chaitanya to the world in the English language. He first received the instruction in 1922, and he prepared himself in so many wonderful ways, but he didn't actually take the books that he wrote and begin his mission until 1965. He boarded Jaladuta. That's 43 years. And when he began 26 Second Avenue on this block, it was 44 years after he received the instruction. And from here, he brought Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the whole world like no one ever before in history. I'd like to remember another devotee, we've heard so many. But there was a devotee at Radha Gopinath temple, a brahmachari. His name Bhakti Center in Radha Muralidhar Temple was nicely established. We were thinking, Srila Prabhupada came here to make the whole world aware of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. But yet, how many people know about Lord Chaitanya here in New York City? So the inspiration came to put the deity of Lord Chaitanya on the altar here. The message of Lord Chaitanya is that Radha Muralidhar is the ultimate goal of life. And by chanting their holy names, hearing their glories, and serving them, that's the means by which we can achieve that goal of life and the association of devotees. But still, who is Lord Chaitanya? So we asked Lord Krishna Prabhu to have a deity of Lord Chaitanya made to be put beside Radha Muralidhar. And he took that so seriously. He went to Jaipur. He sent the measurements and everything. And he stayed there for weeks and weeks and weeks, making sure the people making the deities, every little detail is going to be perfect. And then he put them in a box and shipped them. And then he left his body. That was the last service he ever did. He left his body in a plane crash, actually, with 8 other devotees. So he never actually got to see a photo of them here. But I'm remembering. Life in this material world is padam yanti padam natation. There is danger in this. No matter what struggles we're going through, no matter what glorious services we have just rendered. Still, his offering in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, blessing the people of New York for generations and generations and generations and generations to come, is living on. Something wonderful about deity is Krishna manifests itself. Srimati Radharani manifests herself in such a way. And in the form of Shri Radha Muralidhar, as many have expressed their hearts' experiences and realizations, they look so childlike and frail and dependent in comparison to many other very large deities. Yourself, and your children, and your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren, and everybody else are going to all live and die, and they'll be standing here. Always completely depending on the mercy of their devotees to feed them, to dress them, to protect them. temples like this remind us of what life in devotional service is, and in our state of consciousness, what it could be. I'm so grateful, Congregating Devi, Radha Vijay Devi and your families, Krishna Saki, actually having this idea and bringing us all together. And I'm so grateful to all the devotees at the Bhakti Center for the beautiful decorations, the wonderful atmosphere, and the ongoing wonderful devotional service that has been offered throughout Muralidhar through the blissful and painful times.
There you go.
And ultimately, the root of all of our gratitude is in Srila Prabhupada's mercy to bring Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the whole world, and we are all recipients of that, mercy. And essentially, we are all completely just depending on this. These festivals help us to focus our vision of life itself, our priorities and our values, not just what I'm thinking of Krishna, but how is Krishna seeing me? How is Krishna seeing us? What is Krishna's mission of coming to this world? And what is the responsibility that Srila Prabhupada has so mercifully given us? I thank you very much. Shri Radha Muralidhar, wherever they may have been, they've always inspired some of those incredible gatherings for chanting Namo Sankirtan. Nobody could dance like the devotees in Cleveland.
Maharaj, there was a time this building was shaking. When the kirtan was going in the morning, the building was shaking.
Which building?
This building.
This building.
No. Kirtan going on and, the floors were shaking. We still keep on going.
And the Thursday night kirtans here, whatever happens at the Bhakti Center, somehow or other, it's devotees come together to seek shelter and the chanting of the holy names. Can I tell you the first time I ever saw Radha Muralidhar? I'm going to end with this because I've gone over time. I was on a lonely mountain in a very remote place in New Vrindavan. It was 1973, 74, 72. And at one time, the deities, that's actually where Radha Vrindavan and Chandra were originally installed and worshipped in this 100-year-old dilapidated farmhouse up this old mountain. You had to walk through mud for about an hour to reach it. And in 1969, Srila Prabhupada lived in that mountain for 1 month. A couple of years later, Radha and Chandra were installed and then they were moved down, and later smaller deities that Srila Prabhupada named Radha Nath were brought up there. And I was taking care of cows up there, and somehow or other I was asked to be the pujari. And my whole goal of life actually was just to get back to Vrindavan. Because I really didn't like America. And I especially didn't like New Vrindavan. But I felt I'm here, so it's my service. So then the deities come, and then I'm told, I didn't see it in writing, but I was told that Srila Prabhupada told Janani Vasprabhu and Maya, who was the head pujari of Radha Madhava, he was living in a little straw hut in a paddy field in those days. Later it became gradually expanding. He said, a real pujari will never leave the deities as long as they live. So when I was actually, I was just taking care of cows, making plans to go back to India. And the pujari, because it was a brahmachari ashram, the pujari got married. And the cook got married. And for me, because I was taking care of cows, that's enough of the opposite sex for me. That's enough for me. But then I was given the position of the cook and the pujari. And then a few days later, I'm told Srila Prabhupada has given the order that the pujari never leaves the deities the whole life. And you're never allowed to leave here. You will die here. So I went on the altar. Radharani, I want to go back to Vrindavan. But then Vrindavanath is here. He's the Lord of Vrindavan. He wants me to stay here. So I was there, and I thought that's my destiny. And I could never even go down to Gokulam to be with the community. And then Vishnujana Swami Maharaj, he came with Radha Damodar, Sankirtan party, and they visited New Vrindavan, and they were having big festivals at Gokulam. And I was up there alone, all the brahmacharis were going for the festival. And one day, I don't remember if it was Vishnujana Maharaj or one of the devotees with him came up to the old mountain. And they said, we have just been to Cleveland. And they showed me a photograph of Sri Sri Radha Muralidhar. And those are these photographs were quite rare. He didn't give me the photograph to show me. I started to cry. They're so beautiful. They are so beautiful. They're supremely, ultimately beautiful deities. I never saw deities like them. I was just gazing at them. I'll never see them my whole life. And then the devotee left with the photo. But that, I went back on the altar and to see all deities and all everything and the way Krishna's revealed himself to us. But I'll never forget that moment, how I was crying, how I longed to see them, but I'll never see them in this life. And after some years, I was actually ordered to leave. And I went to Cleveland, and I was riding, and I believe the first time I was there, Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. Kamagiri Devi. I was just a little sannyasi traveling around. And by inconceivable will beyond all of us, Sri Sri Radha Muralidhar, they have chosen to come here to the university and are giving us all the opportunity. Making their happiness the highest priority of our lives. According to how we do that, Srimati Radharani will bless us with her love. And we will recognize as we surrender, Krishna reveals himself. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. We still have about 18 minutes, and there's a story of a Brinda band that I think a lot of devotees want to hear.
Yes.
If you'd be so kind. Would you like to hear Mirage tell the story? If you don't mind.
You've never heard it? Mother Kamagiri hasn't heard it. Mother Kamagiri hasn't heard it. Very good.
I told it to her so many times. Ready or how many have heard? Please be honest. earnestly before God never heard. Anyways, I don't even remember the year, but I was traveling in America and I was alone. And at first I was hitchhiking and then some devotees I was meeting in Meadville, Pennsylvania. They felt sorry for me and they gave me an old used station wagon. And then gradually somebody gave me a used van. So I was going from place to place, mostly in Ohio, Pennsylvania. And I would come back to New Granada maybe 1 or 2 days a month for about 8 years. I left New Granada in 1979. And I was just traveling like that. And one time I was just stopping through. It was like late afternoon. And I was one of my dear godbrothers, Advaita Acharya. He's the one who actually got the Bhakti Center. He's the one who founded and got this building originally. And he's the one who owned the building at Greenpoint, where Radha Muralidhar lived. So he had an apartment building in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and Kanta Bhakti Prabhu gave a very accurate graphic description of that neighborhood. It was really dangerous and extremely polluted. But, in a scale of pollution in New York, that was really high up. And he had a storefront, and somehow or other, after some years, it became free of the lease. And he made some arrangement that Radha Muralidhar be brought to the storefront at Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Now, he lived in an apartment with his family, and there were some other apartments he was renting out. And whenever I come to New York, literally, we had underground programs. They were always in the basement. There was no windows. And the devotees would be crowded in the basement. There was no ventilation, obviously no air conditioning. And yet we would have ecstatic programs there. So that was Greenpoint, Brooklyn. So one time I'm just stopping through, just on my way between places, and I was told that Radha Muralidhar needs to be brought to Greenpoint today. So I was told, asked, I don't remember, but I was to drive them. It's a van. I was sleeping in the van 7 days a week practically, traveling. So we made a little bed in the back, and then we made like a seatbelt. We tied them back on this nice bed, and she got to ride it on me, and it's laying there, and Muralidhar's laying there. And I didn't know, Sankirtan party, it was just me, so I started driving. And I was so afraid of making a mistake that the fear of making a mistake kept me totally awake the whole arrived in Greenpoint around midnight. I parked in front, and I knocked on the door. Nobody answered. And you can't leave anything in a car. It's not like maybe, it's like for sure. And there were no cell phones. And I didn't know where a phone booth was. It may have been a couple blocks away, I didn't know. But I couldn't leave the deities alone in the van. Because, you know, if somebody were to break in and they saw like marble statues, they would definitely steal them. So I had little pieces of cloth that were like curtains to block the windows, and I just sat beneath the deities, chanting serenades to them until somebody came out of the building. It was the middle of the night. And about a half hour later, I couldn't see outside, but I could hear. Suddenly, there was a gang who were breaking in all the cars. And I heard them, let's get this van. And they pushed something where the key was and then pulled it out to get the door to open. So the door was opening in the front. And I'm sitting there with Muralidhar. I was praying to them. Please give me the intelligence to protect you. They're outside. And just as the door was opening in front, they couldn't see in behind the curtain. I was literally desperate, crying. Please, Radha, let me give my life to protect you. And then suddenly, it wasn't like I thought of it. Suddenly, I started barking like a dog. I didn't figure it out. I just started barking. And I really sounded ferocious. I'm just a little swami, sitting in my van, and the noise coming out of my mouth and while this barking was going on, my fists were hitting the floor of the van like the whole van was kind of shaking like this dog was jumping. And outside, this gang of thieves, I heard them say, "There's a mad dog." So they said, let's go to the next. So they left. And I was, just thanking Radha for keeping themselves in this
another game change. And they were, because the door was already broken, so they were, they were talking, they were just about to come in, and I did the same thing. Or I didn't do it, but I guess Krishna was dovetailing some But then around 7:30 in the morning, we were there for about 8 hours. Muralidhar was laying in the back of the van in Greenpoint, and then a deity came out and saw the van there. He said, "Why didn't you call me?" And that's how they came to New York City. Shri Radha Muralidhar ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Prabhupada ki jai.
So Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj ki jai! Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you all for being here for this wonderful festival. I think we should do this yearly. What do you think, Vasudev? Haribo!
They never do 50 in Krishna conscious, so it's 51.
51, I like that. Haribo. Well, and now we have a 6-year sleeping period, so we're only at 46. So thank you all so much. Bindu, you got something to say? Sure.
I don't need the mic. I remember working in the dark room on 55th Street. I remember working in the dark room on 55th Street in 1976-77, and there was this older devotee. He must have been really old. He was at least 40. His name was Vipra, and he had a lot of pictures of Radha Muralidhar in Cleveland. I distinctly remember Muralidhar being blue.
Yes.
So if somebody can explain that story.
Only Kamagiri can explain that.
How can I answer that question? Yes. He changes when he feels like it. He manifests his darkness at certain times, But a lot of devotees aren't able to see that. So, I can't explain it. Maybe Jadita can explain it.
I had heard.
Did you see the video yesterday?
I had heard a different story.
What'd you hear?
I'm not sure if it's true, so. I heard that when the deities came, the devotees understood that Krishna was blue. So one devotee took it upon himself to paint Krishna blue when they first came, before they were installed. And then they realized they made a huge mistake and took the paint off. And therefore, that bluish tint has forever remained. But that's the story that I heard. You never heard that one?
It was like a light powder blue.
Yeah,
That was the color.
original color.
Well, I think with what His Holiness Radha Swami mentioned about I'm remembering Urjaswat Prabhu. Does anybody remember Urjaswat Prabhu? Just coming to mind one class he gave. He just, towards the end of his Leela, there was a devotee that was asking some questions, and he said, he had these huge hands. I'll never forget how big his hands were. He said, I just want to do smoking hot kirtan, eat a burfi off Radharani's plate, and be Lord Chaitanya's Leela. So, I think it's time for a smoking hot kirtan to close this festival out. What do you think? Nobody better choose to go with than smoking hot kirtan. Are you ready? Chutagopi Devi Ki Jai! Two little housekeeping things. All the pictures of Shri Shri Radha Muralidhar are on the way up. Please go and see reception. If you want one of them, it doesn't have a mark on it, you can go, give a small donation, like $10, something like that. It's yours. It is an offering of love from all of us here. Prashadam is going to be served at 1 o'clock, so let's do the smoking hot kirtan together. We definitely want to dance. But it was an old plumber's warehouse, so maybe not too high on this one, okay? So thank you all so much for coming. After Prashad is going to be from 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock on, we're going to do a walking Harinam. Just come and congregate around, and we'll figure out how we're going to do that. That's just the way that it's going to go down. So thank you all so much from the bottom of all of our hearts, all the wonderful devotees that gave us all of these amazing stories, amazing inspirations, and please come back to the family reunion year after year. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Shri Radha Muralidhar ki Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Hare
Thank you all so much. We'll see you for Prashad on the second floor.
Haribol.